Hey everyone, welcome back to Sophisticakes. For this tutorial, I thought I would jump on the trend of the cake top forward design. This is a new trend that I'm seeing all over the place, and I think it's gorgeous, and all it is basically a cake turned on its side. So to show you how I did this cake, I will start right after the intro. So I started with 2 layers of cake, and one of these rings, and some acetate sheets, and a stencil. Also some gel food colorings. First things first, I wanted to go ahead and get the cake prepped. And you'll see that on this video, I made a big boo-boo. But I wanted to go ahead and show you because then you can learn from my mistakes. I forgot to use the acetate sheet, and I will show you what happens when you do not use the acetate sheets in this type of design. See here, I'm just going ahead and I'm filling in around the cake. Was my initial thought process, which you will see did not work so well, but I also show you how I fixed it. So I went ahead and used that on the outside and filled it in with some chocolate ganache. And no, these cakes did not match. These I just happen to have in my refrigerator, or actually my freezer. These are not for an order, obviously, since I don't do orders from home, and my kids, they don't care. So it's just a white cake and then a chocolate chip cookie cake. And after filling it, I'm going ahead and filling around the edge again. My idea was to go ahead and do the crumb coat with this ring and then only have to touch it up afterwards. And I was hoping that frosting would go all the way down and cover completely the sides of the cake. But you'll see that didn't work out as planned either. I think my buttercream was too thick. But that's okay. Like I said, we'll show you how I fixed it in the end. And I'm just going ahead and smoothing this down. And then I popped it in my freezer for a good half hour to an hour just to firm it up. And here you can see I'm having some trouble getting out. I just used my spatula to try to loosen up from the side. You could also use a torch on the outside with the heat, loosening it up. And there you can see, didn't work so hot. That's all right. You know what? We're all human. I show my mistakes so you can learn from them also. So I'm just going ahead and fixing that up. Just going ahead and putting some buttercream on the sides. I would say 3/4 of my job was already done, so it's okay. Go ahead and smooth it out. And I'm filling in some holes there. You could do this a 3-layer cake if you wanted to. I just decided to stick with the 2 because quite frankly, that's what I had. But you could do it a taller cake if you wanted to also. It just depends on the look you're going for and what you wanted to. So once it has been set in the freezer or your fridge and firmed up to the touch so that no buttercream is coming off on your fingers and it's pretty firm, decide how much of your cake you want to cut off the bottom there. I wanted most of the circle to remain intact. So I just cut off a section on the bottom, taking it off of my board, just loosening it up. Because what you're going to need to do is frost both sides. So set it on the side, and then I'm just piping on some more buttercream. I like to use lately I've been on this kick of wanting to use a piping bag. I think I'm just tired of having buttercream on my fingers. And then smooth out all your sides. This was a little tricky. But by the time I was done, I had it figured out. And now I'm going to transfer it on to its top. Or I'm sorry, onto the back. I put it in the fridge and firmed it up again. And I used some parchment paper so that I can peel that off when I'm done with the stencil. And it has firmed up. It's easier to stencil when you're doing it on a horizontal surface than on a vertical surface. So I wanted to do it that way. I'm just lining it up so that it's coming down from the top. This is more of a boho type of design that I was going for. And I used some ivory buttercream. It's the same buttercream, just in an ivory tint. And you want it to be a medium thickness. You don't want it so thick that you can't scrape off the excess, but you don't want it so thin that it sneaks up underneath your stencil either. There's a fine line there. I'd say more peanut butter consistency. And I wanted to make sure that I got most of the excess taken off, because sometimes when you pull that stencil off, it pulls the buttercream with it, and I didn't want to have to go back and touch it up. So I scraped off most of the excess. And I am going to go in with some gold just here and there, just to give it some touches of gold. And that's my gold luster dust that I use with some vodka. Just thin down. And that, don't mind that brush. I can't find the handle. I don't know where the handle went, but it works this way too. Just doesn't look real professional. Whatever. It worked. And I just wanted to put it here and there. I didn't want to do the whole thing in gold. You could if you wanted to, but I wanted to see some of that ivory poking through too. Not poking through, but I wanted to see the two different colors. Now I'm making an edible rice paper fan that I'm going to color coat with the gold luster dust also. And to do that, after I cut the shape out, I went ahead and used some vegetable oil, brushed it on. This is twofold. This will get your luster dust to stick and also make it more flexible, more pliable to fold it in the fan shape. You could leave it sit for a little bit and let that soak in a little bit more than I did. I found that I could fold it, but if I pressed real hard in the crease, it might have cracked. So if you let it sit a little longer, you probably wouldn't have as much of an issue with that. But you also don't want to put on so much that it curls. You don't want your rice paper to curl. And I used a fluffy brush with the dry powder. Since you have the vegetable oil on the paper already, when you brush on the dry powder, it gives you that sheen that you actually want. Well, I want. I like it to be a shiny metal. So you get down that side and flip it over and do the other side. You do use quite a bit of the powder when you do this, but it soaks in really well. So you get a really good concentration of color. You could do this with other luster dust as well. It doesn't have to be the gold. You could do silver. You could even do just colors. You can color your rice paper that way. See, now I fold it in the middle first, but I didn't push down real hard. You can see I kind of tapped at it instead of pressed it down and run my fingers along it. And remember when we were in grade school and we made fans out of paper? Same idea. Just accordion fold it. Make sure you get both sides, obviously. And you can see there's quite a bit of gold on my fingers. Some of it obviously does come off, but that's okay. Most of it stays on. I was trying really hard not to crack that paper. And then fold it together, and then you have your fan shape. At the bottom, fold it. And then you went in with water, just water to soften that rice paper enough to stick together, because when it gets wet, it softens and sticks together, and then cut off the extra. Now, actually, this is my finishing board that I'm using. I usually use my clear boards so that I don't have to invest in those cake drums for the video purposes. Go ahead and attach your fan wherever you feel that it looks good. I just used buttercream to get it to stick. Just hold it in place for a minute, not even a minute, a few seconds until it stays. And I just used some floral that I already had. This is not fresh floral, obviously. This is from another cake that I did. I just hold on to my flowers, my silk flowers. These are actually dried. I'm sorry, dried flowers. And reuse them where I can. In real life, I like to use fresh florals or sugar flowers, but these give you the idea. They get the job done for the videos. And I just filled in with some buttercream back there just to hold the flower on there. And I'm kind of using the pleats to my advantage, so they will hold the flowers up also. And I wanted one accent piece on the bottom, a bigger one, and then I filled in with some smaller ones. And there you go. This is my version of the cake top forward trend, and I think it's gorgeous. I have some ideas of some ones that I would like to do in the future. We'll see what time allows. I have a lot of ideas. You could do different shapes even, and that's kind of where my mind is going. So anyway, If you like this video, please like it, share, hit the notification bell, do all of the things so I know what you like, what you don't like, and so that you can also see when I have posted a new video. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you next time.